Have you ever dreamed of writing your own short story book? Let's embark on this exciting journey together, beginning with one of the most crucial steps, discovering your plot. Imagine your plot as the skeleton of your story, holding everything together. Without it, your story might just collapse, like a body without bones. Therefore, it's essential to have a clear and engaging plot in mind before you start writing. A plot can take many forms. It could be a classic hero's journey, a nail-biting thriller, a heartwarming romance, or a thought-provoking piece of literary fiction. Each type of plot has its own unique characteristics and challenges. You might want to experiment with different types, or blend them together to find what resonates with you. Ultimately, the plot you choose should be something that excites you, stirs your creativity, and makes you eager to explore its twists and turns. Remember, a well-thought-out plot forms the backbone of your story. Now that you have a plot, it's time to breathe life into your characters. Characters are the lifeblood of any story. They are the vessels through which your plot unfolds. They are the ones who carry your readers along, inviting them into the world you've created, making them care about what happens next. And for that, you need strong, believable characters. So how do you design characters that are not just names on a page, but living, breathing entities? Well, first you start with the basics. Think about their physical attributes and their personality traits. Are they tall, short, young, old? Are they shy, outgoing, stubborn, kind-hearted? These details begin to form the framework of who your characters are, but to truly make them come alive, you need to go deeper. What are their hopes, fears, dreams, and secrets? What makes them laugh, cry, angry, or scared? These are the things that make your characters human, relatable, and real. Next, let's talk about the role of protagonists and antagonists. Your protagonist or main character is the one who drives the story forward. They are the ones your readers will root for, the ones who must overcome challenges and grow along the way. On the flip side, your antagonist is there to provide those challenges. They are the ones who stand in the way of your protagonist's goals. But remember, your antagonist isn't necessarily a villain. They can be a well-meaning friend, a societal expectation, or even a personal flaw. The key is that they create conflict, which is the engine that propels your story forward. Finally, remember that even though we're talking about protagonists and antagonists, every character in your story should have their own motivations and complexities. No character should exist solely for the sake of another. Each one should feel like they could be the protagonist of their own story. Your characters are the heart and soul of your story. Make them real. A story happens somewhere, and that's what we call the setting. The setting is more than just a backdrop for your plot. It's a character in its own right. It influences the behavior of your characters, shapes the plot, and sets the mood of your story. Imagine a spooky tale without the haunting forest, or a romance novel without the charming cityscape. The setting can make or break your story. It's the canvas on which your characters and plot come alive. Now, how does one create a vivid setting? It's all about the details. Engage the senses of your readers. Let them hear the rustling of the leaves, smell the damp earth, feel the chill in the air. But remember, while details are important, they should serve the story, not distract from it. Consider the setting as you would a character. Give it depth, complexities, and even flaws. This will make your world more believable and your story more engaging. A well-crafted setting immerses your readers in your story. Let's dive into the art of crafting your narrative. Narrative style is like the unique fingerprint of your story. It's the way your tale is told, the perspective from which it unfolds, and the voice that guides your readers through the journey. It's what makes your story uniquely yours. There are several types of narratives you can choose from, each offering a distinct lens through which your story can be viewed. The first-person narrative allows your audience to see the world through the eyes of a single character, making them feel intimately connected to the story. The third-person narrative, on the other hand, gives you the freedom to explore multiple perspectives, offering a bird's-eye view of the plot. Then we have the second-person narrative, a less common but highly immersive style that speaks directly to the reader, pulling them into the heart of the story. And let's not forget the omniscient narrative, where the storyteller knows all and sees all, offering insights into the thoughts and feelings of every character. But how do you create an engaging narrative? Start by choosing the narrative style that best suits your plot and characters. Remember, it's not just about telling a story, but about how you tell it. The narrative style should enhance the storytelling, not distract from it. Next, pay attention to your pacing. A good narrative flows like a river, sometimes slow and meandering, other times rapid and intense. It's about balance. Too fast and your readers may feel rushed. Too slow and they might lose interest. Lastly, don't forget to engage the senses. A truly engaging narrative doesn't just tell, it shows. It paints a vivid picture, immerses readers in the world you've created, and makes them feel like they're living the story rather than just reading it. So remember, your narrative style is your voice. It's how you tell your story. It's what sets you apart from other writers and what makes your story uniquely yours. So take your time, choose wisely, and most importantly, have fun with it. Your narrative style is your voice. It's how you tell your story. Writing is rewriting. So let's talk about editing and revising. In the journey of writing, the editing stage acts as the refining fire, the process where your rough diamond of a draft transforms into a polished gem. It's the stage where you scrutinize your work sentence by sentence, word by word, to ensure it's the best it can be. So how do we go about this daunting task? Firstly, take a breather. Once you've completed your draft, step away from it for a while. This break allows you to return to your work with fresh eyes, making it easier to spot inconsistencies, weak points, and areas that need improvement. Next, read your work aloud. By hearing your words, you can identify awkward phrasing, run-on sentences, and parts that simply don't sound right. It's a simple trick, but one that works wonders. Now, let's move on to the more detailed part of editing, revising. Revising is not merely about fixing grammatical errors, it's about ensuring your story flows smoothly, that your characters are well developed and believable, and that your setting is vividly described. Ask yourself, does the plot make sense? Are there any loose ends that need tying up? Do your characters behave consistently, and are their actions and motivations clear? Does the setting add to the overall atmosphere of your story? If the answer to any of these questions is no, then it's time to revise. But remember, you don't have to do this alone. Feedback is a writer's best friend. Share your work with others, be it fellow writers, friends, or family. They can provide a fresh perspective, spot issues you might have overlooked, and offer useful suggestions. However, don't feel obliged to accept every piece of advice. It's your story, after all. Consider their feedback, but ultimately make decisions that align with your vision for your story. In the end, editing and revising might seem like a tedious process, but it's an essential one. It's the bridge that takes your raw draft and transforms it into a compelling, polished story that's ready to captivate your readers. Editing and revising shape your raw draft into a polished story. You've written your book, now what? It's time to talk about publishing. Publishing is the final frontier, the culmination of your hard work, creativity, and perseverance. You've crafted a plot, developed characters, set the scene, and woven a narrative. After multiple rounds of revisions and edits, your short story book is ready to step into the world. But how does it get there? There are two main routes to publishing your work, the traditional route and self-publishing. Both have their pros and cons, and your choice will depend on your individual needs, goals, and circumstances. Traditional publishing involves submitting your manuscript to publishing houses or literary agents. If your work is accepted, they'll take care of the production, marketing, and distribution of your book. This route can offer you a wider reach and professional support, but it's highly competitive, and the process can be long. On the other hand, self-publishing gives you complete control over your work. You'll be responsible for every aspect, from editing to cover design, marketing, and distribution. It's a lot of work, but it also means you can publish your book your way and potentially earn a larger share of the profits. Thanks to the rise of ebooks and print-on-demand services, self-publishing is more accessible than ever. So how do you choose which route to take? Consider your goals. If you're seeking the prestige of being published by a reputable house and have the patience to navigate the process, traditional publishing may be for you. If you value creative control and are ready to take on the challenge of bringing your book to market yourself, then self-publishing could be your path. Remember, there's no right or wrong way to publish. It's about choosing the path that best suits you and your work, and there you have it, the journey from idea to published book. It's a journey of creativity, challenge, and fulfillment, and it's a journey that's entirely in your hands. Publishing is the final step in making your dream of becoming a writer come true.